Wake up.
Wake up, Africa, your time has come. Open up your eyes and see the sun. Open up your spirit.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, Africa.
Hello and welcome to Africa Watch on the Dr. Mumbi Show. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki with exciting news. Africa revival is here to the African nation across the world, wherever you are. If you're a melanated person, if you're like this, revival is here, restoration is here, and there's so much that's happening. And you know, we really have to get our heads around this because we're in a transition of ages, like the times of the when it transitioned from the dinosaurs to humans, that kind of stuff. We're in a time where one dispensation is dying rapidly and another is rising up rapidly, and we really need to know what time it is. Don't forget to subscribe, guys. Thanks to all this. Thanks to all the subscribers. You guys are awesome. I am too excited to say it. We've hit 40,000 subscribers. Love each and every one of you. And just, you know, to the love you guys give me, it really just boosts me and makes me feel that, yes, I am truly doing the work of the Most High. Now, here in Africa, across the continent, guys, across east, west, north, south, the talk has been of revival. The talk has been of a new dispensation. And you know, at the beginning of the year, the prophetic word I gave, and actually it was confirmed by two other major senior prophets, was, forget the thing in Isaiah, where he says, forget the things of past. The Most High says, I am doing a new thing. Can you not see it? And you can see the verse down there. And that was the verse that the Most High gave us, that really this was a new season. This was a new dispensation. But the thing that kept being stressed to me is that, new wine cannot be poured in old wineskin. I know you guys have heard that for so much. But across the continent, a lot of the seers, the prophets, the mighty men and women of God have been speaking of this revival. And it's here, guys. It is here, guys. And what we noticed is ever since the blood moon, there's been a lot of revival conferences. There's been a lot of revival meetings. There's been a lot of revival, declarations, sermons, words just being put into the atmosphere and exciting and filling the hearts and minds of the people. And you know what? One of the major ones is there was a major revival conference here in Kenya at this church called Parklands Baptist Church. And Reverend Ambrose Nyang'ao, a very powerful man of God, really, like one of my spiritual fathers, he released this declaration. And I want us to say this. It was so powerful. And I really feel that one of the things he emphasized is, okay, the revival is here. There is an open atmosphere over the continent of Africa. It has been declared. The Most High has assigned and appointed this time for us to move into this new dispensation. But we have a role to play in this. And our role is to declare it, to decree it. Because, our word has power. Word for, if you look at the scriptures, it actually talks of how the Most High created the worlds of the universes with his word. In the beginning was the word, and the word was with the Most High. And so we must realize that because we are made in our Creator's image, there is so much power in our word, and our word can actually bring things to life, shift atmospheres, and shift the destiny of our continent. And that is what is required. So tomorrow, I'm going to be releasing a video, and I really want to encourage everyone, please take the time to, speak the declarations with me. I will also be attaching the document. Continuously say it. Let's just speak it and speak it. Imagine if 10,000 of us say it. Imagine if 100,000 of us say it. Imagine if 1 million of us stand up and say these 12 declarations about the new Africa, because that is what we need to do. We need to declare and put this out in the atmosphere so that it starts changing the building blocks. Now, Reverend Ambrose, he released this word. It was so powerful. And he talked about 12 things that we need to focus on as we declare this new thing for the African nation. And the African nation is not just a place. It's not just the continent of Africa. It is also the people of Africa. Africa. It is the people of Africa who are spread far and wide. They are on every corner of this world, you know. So whether you're in North Africa, whether you're in Europe, this is a word that we must declare. And I have like 12 quick ones. So the first thing we need to talk about is a united Africa. We need to talk about the revival of this united Africa. You know, the thing that happened is we were divided and conquered in the 1884 conference where they just carved us up. But now our power is going to come through reunification. And the reunification is not just about, you know, collapsing the borders, which we're seeing happening on the continent. We're seeing, you know, the borders are opening up. Different African nations are saying you can travel to different, as an African, you can travel to different African countries without a visa. So as we collapse these borders and start doing trade with each other, start mixing with each other, our power will come from that. Our power will come from the unity. And so that we must speak about a united Africa. Declare that Africa shall be united. The people of Africa, the black people, the melanated people shall be united. Next, a new platform. And this is a new platform of victory where the spiritual chains that have bound Africa are broken in the mighty name of Yahshua. The veil that has been over our eyes has fallen. It's not falling, it's fallen. In the mighty name of Yahshua. And the things that have bound us and kept us as a broken generation are falling. And it is time that we seize and remain in this newfound freedom. Because we are free and we are free indeed. But it's like that thing of, I don't know if you've ever heard of these slaves. I think they were in the South where they didn't know, like for 25 years after the abolition of slavery, they didn't know that the slave system was over. And so they remained as slaves. So that's the same as Africa. We are free, but unless we know it and we seize it, that freedom's not just going to come out of thin air. Thirdly, the African, you know, the African mandate, a new African mandate. The curse of colonization is cancelled. We are no longer a colonized continent, but a covenant continent with the Most High. And it is time that we humble ourselves and return to the ways of our Creator, because that's how we got into this mess to begin with. That's how we ended up, you know, totally bound, you know, in the beginning, is because we broke the covenant we had with our Creator. And so He handed us over to the Caucasians who have just pillaged and plundered us. I have about 9 more points. I'll be getting into them right after this.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, Africa.
Welcome back to the Dr. Mumbi Show. Africa's revival is here, guys. It is unstoppable. It is unfolding, and we must seize the day. We must know what time it is. Because if we don't know what time it is, you know, the Caucasoids will try and convince us, you know, the white supremacists will try and convince us that the world is ending when our world is beginning. So we need to know what part of the narrative we're on. And there's these powerful declarations that were made by a powerful man of God here in Kenya called Reverend Ambrose Nyang'ao. And I'm going to be making those declarations and praying that you will join me in making those declarations over the continent of Africa. But I just wanted to go over the 12 things that we need to focus on. Number 4 is the African people. You know, we are the lost tribes of Israel. We must become aware of our identity. Our identity is being revealed. You even have Caucasians who are now saying, yo, in fact, the black people are the chosen ones, and we ain't the Israelites. And so we're seeing that. And you know, we've known, and a lot of the forerunners have known that the dispersed tribes, a lot of the 11 tribes are actually on the continent of Africa, and they do not know their identity. The tribe of Judah is the one that was taken in slave ships to the US and the Caribbean, but they're going to be coming back. But it is time for the African people to know that they are the chosen ones, that they are the lost tribes of Israel, that they are the original humans. And I can get deep into this because, you know, research has actually been done that shows that it's only the black people, it's only the black melanated race that are 100% human. All other races have traces of Neanderthal, which is basically like, You know the whole evolution story where they try to lie that black people came from a monkey? You know, you see that picture. They've tried to lie that was our story. It is not. We were made from the soil. That's why we got this beautiful tone. Because, you know, the Most High Yah, he formed us in his image from the soil. And then he breathed life into us. Whereas others, you know, there was all kinds of mixing experiments that were done. And then all of a sudden, you know, they're human. But that's why you see this RH negative. I can get so into this. I will definitely do a story on this one day. But yes, we have to know that we are the original people of this planet. Next, the African mind. We need to change our consciousness, guys, because this is where the battle has been since the beginning. And changing our confidence, we have to, you know, have a new mind. And we are declaring, and what Reverend Ambrose declared is that Africa has a new mind, and we're going from a defeatist mindset to a divine mindset. We have to now change into conquest thinking, building thinking, abundance thinking, you know, yes, because we need to rebuild the nations of Africa. We need to rebuild the mighty empire that was there before. Next, the African spirit. You know, it is time for us to take on a new spirit with the false religion, with things like the false education, with things like the media. We took on the spirit of our oppressor. We took on his name. We took on his identity. We took on his diet. We took on his clothes. We took on his ways of life. And this literally was because we took on his spirit. But it is time for us to return to our true identity and power and realize that we were never given a spirit of fear. We were never given a spirit of death, but we were given a spirit of power, of love. Love is a powerful emotion. Love is a powerful frequency. We were given the spirit of self-discipline and self-awareness and the power to heal ourselves, the power to, you know, become mighty giants on this planet. And that is this new spirit that Africa is entering into and Africans are entering into. Next, the African family. You know, they divide and conquer. It didn't just happen on a national level. It started first and foremost by dividing and conquering the family, removing the child from the home, removing, you know, the man from the home, breaking up our family units. But now the family units must come together. And, you know, Black love, guys. Celebrate Black love. Celebrate melanated love. That's what we need to get into. A lot of our children are so lost in the system. They're so deep in the system. But we are declaring today that they are coming out. I feel like this is a sermon, but this is important. They are coming out. And so we must start protecting our children from the enemy, protecting them from the things that they are trying to do, the way they're trying to claim them with the technology, the way they're trying to claim them with social media, and make them realize that they don't get their identity from the outside. They're going to get their identity from the inside of them. Next, the African treasure. It is time, and this is a declaration that was made. Actually, what happened, guys? Let me just quickly say. About 15,000 Kenyans and also all African nations were represented, came together on Sunday and made these 12 declarations. And this, and we said, you know, the new Africa is here. And we declare, it was powerful, guys. And not only did we do that, but it was being broadcasted on one of the national radio stations, far and wide. So millions of Kenyans, you know, plugged into that word and added their agreement to that word. And while we were doing this in Ghana, in Nigeria, different men and women of God were preaching on the same thing about the revival that is hitting our nation. And so, you know, now we're talking about the African treasure. No more pillaging, we declare, by the West. It stops now. No more raping of our resources. No more taking our resources, you know, as raw materials and then selling them back to us at exorbitant prices, or dumping, you know, what is no longer needing, the dumping of electronics, especially on our continent. No more, no more. So these are the things that are shifting, and let's be in agreement that this is the new mandate for Africa, our heritage. And this is all about knowing ourselves. We have such a rich culture, a rich lineage. It was stolen from us. And we've already seen, you can actually check out a video I did on Advise Media Network where I talked about how, you know, France is starting to return our artifacts. We have hundreds of thousands of artifacts of spiritual instruments of power, of scriptures, of texts, of scrolls, which have been stolen, and they're in German museums, they're in British museums, they're in French museums, but they must be returned. And it is time for us to know our heritage, and the Most High will protect this heritage. And even if they don't return it, it's in our DNA. It's in our collective memory, and it's going to start coming up, because we're in a season where, you know, young men and women shall prophesy. So there's nothing that can be stolen from us, because we're going to have a returning of our memory of who we really are. Number 10, the African narrative. It must change. And you know, shows like this and others, we will be talking about what the enemy is doing, but we will also be talking about the revival and what is happening with the revival. So we must be aware. We cannot say, oh, we're not going to do anything negative. We must be aware of what the enemy is doing, but we also must be aware of what the Most High Yah is doing in our midst. But it is time for us to control our narrative. It is time for us to change our narrative. And we're already seeing that. If you see how, you know, I don't know which media house, CNN or whatever, try to talk about the dark continent or something, try to diss Africa, or the backlash. And that shows you that we have a voice. You ain't gonna diss us no more. Because our generation is different from our mother's generation and our father's generation. We're a furious generation. We're a generation that's going to speak up and speak out against the injustices. We are going to stand at the gates of the enemy, and we are not going to bow. That is who we are. And you know, so that is so important about changing the narrative of who we are. It is our time to take it. Number 11, African youth. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones, you know. And there's a famous author who wrote the book, The Beautiful Ones Have Not Yet Been Born. The Beautiful Ones Are Not Yet Born. You can see the cover here. But we are born. We're here now. We're here now, you know. And so there's going to be a new platform of creativity and influence. And, you know, I must do a show on finances. There's a very powerful word that was given by this man of God in Ghana. And he talked about how Africa as a whole right now is worth $2.2 trillion, which is less than the top 5 tech companies of Facebook, you know, Apple, Alphabet, which is the mother company of Google, Microsoft, and I can't remember the 5th one. But they are worth $3.2 trillion, and Africa, all the 54 countries together, are worth $2.2 trillion. There's a problem there. So African youth, it is time for us to build empires in a day. Some of these, they're growing at 20, 30, 50% a year. Those are the kind of things. Empires will be built in a year. Empires will be built in a day. That's the time we're moving on. And Africa, we are the ones who must seize this ferocious growth. Lastly, our destiny. We are in a new dawn. We are in a new dispensation. We are in a new time. Let's seize this opportunity. Let's seize this day. And the way to do it is to declare it, to believe it, to honor it, to own it. And so join me tomorrow. And, you know, keep saying those declarations that I will post tomorrow. I will also post a link to the document so that we keep saying it, keep saying it, keep saying it. So that a new dawn, this new dawn, can manifest fully in the shortest time possible. Believe, it won't take 10 years. It won't take 15 years. It will be instant. It will be a suddenly. God bless you. God bless your family. God bless this nation of Africa across the entire world. We are coming together because a new dawn is here. Mwah.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up.